three.
Yeah. Good morning, sir, and my beloved group members. So, we are from Group 13. The title of the presentation from us is Underprivileged Students in Malaysia. So, my name is Angeline, and I will start off with introduction. So, for introduction, education is very important for every student, but not all the students in Malaysia they have the same opportunities. So from this project, we have chosen three categories of student that are student from rural areas, student from low-income families, and also student with learning disabilities. So these students, they may not have a proper school facilities. For example, like Sabah and Sarawak, they don't have like a proper internet connection and also a proper classroom facilities. And for students from low income families, they may need financial support. For example, like they need a proper school uniform and also they need stationery for them to prepare to the school and also learning resources for students with learning disabilities. So because of these difficulties, their academic performance and their motivation to study can be affected. So from this report, we will discuss why these students can be considered as disadvantaged and how we can support them to get a fair and equal education.
My name is Law, and I'll be discussing about equality of education opportunity. So first of all, the ideal of the equality of education opportunity is that it's an ideal world where everyone, regardless of their background, their social statuses, or any circumstances, are able to receive education in a proper educational institution. However, reality begs to differ, as in our world, there are various factors and circumstances that have led to essentially students losing the opportunity to education, whether it's because of their financial situation, they're having learning disabilities, or simply lacking infrastructure due to them living in rural areas. And to give some examples for students who live in rural areas, their educational opportunity is generally lacking because of the lack of infrastructure, where the lack of infrastructure has led to generally inferior teaching quality compared to that of those in the urban areas. And also, due to the geographical remoteness of the area, they usually the teachers there usually have inconsistent teaching quality due to being unable to collaborate with other teachers or simply feeling burnt out quicker due to how they have to commute back and forth every day. Additionally, moving on to students from families of low income, their educational opportunity stems from the fact that they usually enter school with less than they usually enter school with lacking the necessary school readiness due to them lacking the initial resources compared to their peers. Additionally, some students have to drop out earlier despite performing well academically due to their financial situation and then wanting to, instead of continuing their education, they want to support their parents by essentially entering the workforce earlier. And moving on to students with learning disabilities, for their case, their educational opportunity is due to their learning disabilities. They usually find it more difficult to keep up with classes, whether it's, for example, those with dyslexia will have inhibited skills when in regards to their literacy. So this results in them having to spend more effort to learn something that a normal student would have no problem, with no issues learning. And because of this, educational opportunity is extremely difficult to equality of educational opportunity is extremely difficult to
Another?
maintain.
Can
Uh, and because uh, and that's all for now.
Okay, so moving on to the next part. Good morning, sir. So for my part, I'll be presenting the Malaysian government's effort in promoting equality in educational opportunities. So education is one of the most powerful tool for social mobility, and Malaysia has taken many steps to ensure that every child, regardless of their background, has chance to learn, grow, and succeed. So, for instance, the zero reject policy introduced in 2019 plays a crucial role by ensuring that schools cannot refuse the admission to children, even those with disabilities. This was reinforced by the compulsory education for policy, which was implemented under the Section 9A of Education Act 1996. So let us begin with the efforts that or initiatives that the government done for students from the rural areas. So one of the major initiatives that is the Malaysian Education Blueprint, which focuses on closing the gap between the rural and the urban schools. So this includes upgrading school facilities, improving teachers' training, and increasing access to technology. So in 2025 national budget, the government continued its investment by allocating funds to enhance the rural school, improve transportation, and provide better learning environment. So other than that, there's also this key effort supporting digital access, which is known as the Jalinan Digital Negara, which is the Jendela plan, which aims to expand the internet coverage and strengthens the digital infrastructure, especially in remote areas. This is to ensure that even students from outside the cities are not left behind in the digital age. So let's look at the other part, which is the underprivileged students from the low income households. So to reduce the financial barriers, the government created the Underprivileged Student Trust Fund, which is known as KWAPM, which provides financial aids to the students who needed it most. And to address the nutritional needs, we have the supplementary food program, which is the RMT, offers free meals for to the eligible students, helping them to stay healthy and ready to learn. Other than that, we also have the SPBT, which is the textbook loan scheme, to ensure that all students have access to essential learning materials without burdening their family. These programs, they kind of work together to lighten the financial load on a low-income families and support the children's learning consistency throughout the year. So, and finally, we will look into the how the government support the students with disabilities. So to support the students in classroom, the government offers several programs such as special education integration, special integration program, and inclusive education program. So these initiatives, they provide a specialized sort of support and trained teachers and access to appropriate learning environment. So to conclude, Malaysian government has made significant effort to ensure equal education opportunities for every student in Malaysia. So through policies, financial supports, and even improved infrastructure and inclusive program, the aim here is pretty clear. So it's like whether students from rural areas or low-income families, or even students with disabilities, they all deserve a fair chance at education and a brighter future. Thank you. That's all from my part. I'll pass it to my other friend.
Right, moving on to the next slide, we'll explain about the efforts of other stakeholders. First, we would like to mention about the alternative educations by NGOs. So NGOs stands for non-governmental organizations. NGOs plays a major role by providing alternative educations for children who are not able to enter public schools, such as the Dignity of Children Foundation in Kuala Lumpur. They run a holistic schools model that combines academic subjects with entrepreneurship, vocational skills, healthcare, and also counseling services. Their aim is to break the circle of urban poverty, to help the unable families, to make them to earn their income for their children to get to proper schools. Other NGOs such as Humania Schools and refugee learning centers also offer structured learning opportunities for plantation worker children and refugee communities, ensuring that no child's left without basic education, since all childs deserve an equal education. So moving on to the next point, academic intervention programs. Teach for Malaysia is a program that contributes by improving academic performance in high-need schools. By sending teachers through class program to train educators use specialized literacy and numeracy toolkits to support struggling students while coaching teachers to sustain long-term improvement. These fellowship programs place young professionals in under-resourced schools for 2 to 3 years, allow them to teach full-time and develop leadership skills, and also benefiting students in rural areas, something like mountains, Sabah, Sarawak, to help them to gain a better, higher quality education. So moving on to the next point, which is holistic support for children. Many NGOs address poverty-related barriers by providing essential support such as free meals, uniforms, transport, and also healthcare. Programs like HITS offer nutritious meals to B40 students, reducing their financial stress and burden on families and ensuring that children can focus their better in school without worrying about financial issues and also foods. And you also and send volunteers to rural areas and underprivileged schools to deliver tutoring, motivational activities, and including programs for children with disabilities or refugee backgrounds. So moving on to the next presenter to present the next 3 points.
Hello, sir. My name is Haris. I will explain the other 3 efforts of other stakeholders. The private sector, corporation and companies, through CSR, which stands for Corporate Social Responsibility, initiatives by companies like Petronas, Maybank, and Telecom Malaysia plays an important role in improving educational opportunities. These companies help upgrade rural school facilities by funding repairs, installing solar panels, and developing learning tabs. Technology companies also support digital access by donating devices, providing free internet, and running digital literacy programs. They further enhance STEM education by supplying smart boards, computers, and robotics materials to ensure students gain exposure to modern technologies. For the second point, community and civil society. Community groups in Sabah, Sarawak, and Orang Asli villages support education by creating informal learning spaces run by volunteer teachers. These volunteers provide tuition and basic education for students in remote areas with limited access to resources. In Sabah, alternative learning centers offer schooling to children who cannot attend public or private schools due to financial or documentation barriers. Although ALS lack formal certification and are often crowded, they serve as the only educational options for many children, focusing on essential skills such as reading, writing, counting, religion, and music. The third point, parents and peer support. Parents and peers play a key role in supporting students' education. Parents group help by organizing homework assistance, reading circles, and motivational activities that boost children's confidence, academic performance, and overall motivation. While peer support programs are increasingly adopted because they improve student well-being, self-confidence, social interaction, acceptance, and overall quality of life. That's all from me.
So, hi sir, my name is Vimal Nair Suresh, and my part is conclusion. So the first point is education inequality in Malaysia is a still major issue, especially for rural students and low-income families and learning disabilities. Okay, so in Malaysia, we still has education inequality where the rural students and learning disability students faces challenges like poor facilities in the school or financial hardship. So these challenges not only affect on their learning, but also their future opportunities. Because when it comes to the students who are staying in the city, they have more opportunities compared with the rural students. So moving on to the second point, the government has introduced many efforts such as the Malaysian Education Blueprint, Zero Rejects policy, and the financial aids, and also digital platforms. But also, even though government has introduced this MEB and uh, zero rejects policy, but still they have gaps at that. Maybe government's efforts are not enough to the rural students or etc. And moving on to the third point, however, government action alone is not enough. Like just now I say, government's effort may be not enough. Maybe we need support from the NGOs, communities, volunteers, or the maybe private sector to work together and provide resources and guidance to support the underprivileged students. So, and then achieving equal education opportunity requires teamwork. When schools, parents, NGOs, and society works together, no child will be left behind. So, for example, when school, parents, and the NGOs and the private sector work together, support the underprivileged students, I think no child will be left behind. So, and a fair and exclusive education system is possible toward continuous support, collaborations, and commitment to the stakeholders. Like just now I say, when NGOs and the private sector work together and uh, give support to the guidance to the underprivileged students, maybe they will not left behind. And that's all from my part. And thank you, sir.